Okay, now I'm going to take you through the process of normalisation. We start with our inefficient table at the top here. So we've got the club and the home ground, and I'm just going to demonstrate how we link things together. So a club and a home ground are related to each other. That one's fairly straightforward. A club is also linked to the mascot, and the last binary one, or simpler one, a home ground links to its ground capacity. So the ground capacity has got nothing to do with the club or the season or the mascot. And finally, we've got a ternary. So you've done enough of these by now that you've worked out what ternaries are. So we've got a club in a season and a place. But we can't just say Plonkers came fourth, because we lose the fact that that was in 2011. I'm just going to scroll up a little bit and bring up thing to save a little bit of time in the video. So that's what our elementary sentences would then look like. So the black one representing the black here, we've got the mascots being the red line, etc. So here's our ternary, the 5-line one. Of course, our next step is then to draw the conceptual schema diagram, and I'll start doing that right now. So our first one is club and the ground. So here's our club. Okay, and this has a home ground. So ground at the top and home ground. I'm just saving a little bit of time in the diagram. So that's the black one in the top left, complete. We then do the red one, the Plonkers. So that's the club, has a mascot. We might put it down the bottom here. So there's our mascot created. Okay, now the blue one, the ground has a seating capacity, so we might put it here. There's no right or wrong where you put these things, as long as they all link together. The direction doesn't make any difference. Finally, our last one is the club, season and place, which is a ternary. And we'll just place it out to the side here. So season. Okay, it is going to be what's called nested. So we'll just put place down here. Okay, so there's our diagram in its raw form done. Our next job is to put the constraints on. You've done lots of constraints, so I'm just going to go through very quickly and add those. So these are the ones marked in red, like so. We also put their mandatory. The only thing optional in here is the mascot, so that's why I've left that as a slightly blank one. Everything else is mandatory, so just to remind you of that. A club, if I record a club, I must record the home ground, so that's why there's a dot on the club end. If I record a ground, it must have a club associated with it. So that's that stage. Our final stage is working out what the tables are going to be. So what we had at the top here is quite inefficient. So we're re-recording things. So Plonkers in the home ground gets recorded every time we record stuff about Plonkers. If they had 50 or 100 records in our database, we'd have to record Sunshine Stadium 100 times, and that's really inefficient. Okay, back to this. Ternaries are always a table in their own right. So we just circle that, and it will represent a table. You'll see down the bottom here, I've already done that one. So here's the season, the club and the season, they're a dual primary key, and the place. Looking at this, that would be another table there. So that's the one called clubs. So club is the main one, or the primary key. It also has the home ground. And I've took out home ground there somehow. Sorry, wrong colour pen. And our final stage is working out that there's one about ground, so it's the home ground and the seating capacity. Okay, so that's the process we go through. So we start off, work out what's a more efficient way. We do our elementary sentences, draw the diagrams, add our constraints, work out our tables, and then finally what we've got at the end are 3 tables that are far more efficient. So if our mascot changes, we become a dog instead of a cat, we need to change it in one place, not in multiple places.